Hi everyone, thanks for joining me for today's video. My name is Lena. Welcome to my channel. I'm very excited about today's video. I want to review all my Chanel foundations today. Currently, I have 7 different Chanel foundations in my collection. I think I have tried 9 different formulations so far. So I just wanted to review each of them and share my experience with them. And I also want to talk to you about the shade and consistency that I find from the Chanel base makeup range, which is very interesting. So I want to talk to you about that. I recently shared some swatch shorts using my Chanel foundations, and many people seem to be interested in that. So I want to talk to you more in depth about that. And I understand that foundation or foundation review can be a very subjective thing because number one, you have to find a really good color match. Personally, I think is the single most important factor to choose a good foundation for myself. Color has to match. Color has to be a good match, and also it depends on your skin type, what kind of climate you live in, or the makeup finish or the style you prefer. Everything plays into deciding what a good foundation is for you. So having said that, I just wanted to share my own experience with you, and hopefully you will find it helpful. So that's the video for today. I hope you guys keep watching. First, let me talk to you about my skin type, what I look for in foundation, what I like. So I have aging skin and I have some hyperpigmentations, and I prefer medium coverage foundation, and I think I like glowy finish over matte finish. And I have fair to light skin tone with some red pinky undertones, but my neck is more yellow than my face, and like to match my foundation shade to my neck color because I don't like wearing foundation on my neck, generally speaking. So I usually go for a light fair shade with warm undertone, but it has to be the right kind of like yellow undertones, so it can be quite tricky. So yeah, that's about me. So now that's out, let's get into the reviews. I like to start with the latest addition to the lineup. So this is the Le Beige Water-Fresh Complexion Touch. It came out not too long ago. There were many buzzes around this product, and I like it. I think it's really great medium coverage foundation that gives gorgeous, glowy, natural finish, and it's interesting. And I still think it's a little bit gimmicky. There are color droplets, the pigment suspended in this water gel formulation, and you have to break it down and then use some sort of brush. It comes with tiny brush, and Chanel also claims that this can be used as a concealer, but I am not a heavy concealer user, but still I wouldn't think this is a concealer. That all depends on your definition of concealer, obviously, but I just don't think this gives enough pigmentation or pigment to perform as a concealer. The shade is also very interesting. I have B10. This range does not offer my favorite shade match, which is BD01. The arm swatch of this shade is kind of scary. As you see in the photo, it looks quite reddish beige on me and very dark, but once I apply this to my skin, it is actually a very good match. It looks very natural. It doesn't look different from my neck color. It doesn't look pink or too beige or anything like that. I like the shade match, and initially it looks very sheer, and you might wonder, is this a medium coverage? But give it a couple minutes, then it will be exactly the medium coverage which Chanel claims this foundation gives to you. So very interesting. Another example that foundation, it's always best to go to the counter, get the sample, apply that on yourself, and decide a little bit look yourself in different lightings and things like that. So interesting and very, very nice medium coverage, but I happen to have more than a few medium coverage foundations that give me nice level of glowy finish, but they don't require me to do extra chore breaking down the droplets. And also another thing is, I might be a little petty about this, but Chanel gives us 20 ml of the product in this case. I guess that's based on the logic that this one is more pigmented compared to the original Water-Fresh Tint, but that logic does not fly with me if you ask me, because if that's the logic, their sheer lip color should be more affordable. I don't think more pigmented stuff should be more expensive. So having said that, although I know that this is a very beautiful product and I enjoy using this, I am just not sure that if I want to repurchase this. And now let's talk about the original Water-Fresh Tint. I love this foundation and I think I will repurchase this once I run out. This is a beautiful formulation. It does give really hyper-realistic my skin but better glowy hydrating finish. Feels amazing on the skin. Application is actually easier compared to the Complexion Touch because there are lesser number of droplets in this formulations. I don't need to use a brush. I just use my fingertips and I can easily break down the droplets and make an even application. Very easy. And the color match, I have the light shade. It's a near perfect, really nice brightening shade for me. Some people anticipated Chanel would discontinue this because the Complexion Touch, the more pigmented version, would outsell this original formulation and eventually it will be gone, but I don't think that's the case. They are two very distinctly different products if you ask me, and this functions very differently. This is a tinted moisturizer. That one is a medium coverage foundation in my book. I don't think this is gonna disappear, and I certainly hope Chanel does not discontinue this beautiful formulation. Now let me talk about my least favorite foundation from Chanel, and that's Le Beige Healthy Glow Foundation. Many people love this formulation, but I just don't think this is the one for me. I won't be repurchasing this. I am down to half the bottle, and first of all, the shade match is kind of terrible. I have the BD01 shade, and this particular BD01 looks very different from the other two BD01 shades that I have, and it has a very strong peachy undertone and looks very off on my face. And the finish is really gorgeous. I think the biggest merit of this foundation is really healthy, glowy finish. So if you can find a good shade match, and if you like glowy, very natural, healthy, glowing finish, I would still recommend this. And this has a little bit of like a silicone-y set down feeling to my skin, so I am not so crazy about that either, but I guess because of that it's also quite long lasting. So it's just a good foundation, but it didn't work for me. Next up is the Vitalumiere Aqua Foundation. I have this in the shade B10. I love this formulation and I enjoy having this foundation, but I cannot say the shade match is excellent. It's a decent match. So the B10 shade in this is a little bit lighter compared to the new Complexion Touch, but once I apply this to my face, it starts immediately oxidizing, and at the end of the day my face looks a lot darker than my neck. So I have to use some sort of primer to minimize that, but formulation wise really beautiful. I think it's a very light hybrid gel water type of foundation. Feels really weightless, effortlessly blends in. You don't need any special tool. Fingertip would work just fine for this formulation. So if you're just getting into Chanel base makeup range, I would highly recommend trying this one first. And if you have young skin, nothing too much to cover up, this is also a very good option as well. So I think this is a still very unique and beautiful formulation that Chanel can offer for you. Now we're moving towards my favorite foundations, and I'd like to talk to you about the #1 Chanel foundation. I did a dedicated review on this one, and I still think this is a very beautiful foundation. It performs really well. Medium coverage, kind of demi satin, kind of glowy finish. It feels super comfortable on the skin, and for something that feels so comfortable and only with medium coverage, the stay power is phenomenal. So I don't even need to set this foundation with loose powder, but it still lasts on me all day long. And the shade match is excellent for me. This particular BD01 shade is just really beautiful, clear, warm toned, a light shade that looks perfect on me. The only criticism that I might have about this foundation is the price. So this one is more expensive compared to the most of the Chanel foundation. So this is $70 US for 30 ml. And supposedly this has a lot of skin benefiting ingredients, including red camellia extracts and etc. And I believe it. I'm not saying that there is no ingredients in it or anything like that, but in order for something to be beneficial to my skin, it has to go deeper into my skin layers, and it has to penetrate the waterproof sunscreen that I daily wear, right? But I just don't think this foundation can do all that. Maybe if you wear this on your bare skin religiously almost every day, maybe you will experience some benefits from this skin benefiting stuff in it. So for that, I have my reservation a little bit, but as a foundation, it is a beautiful foundation. Next one is probably my favorite foundation from Chanel, and this is Chanel Ultra Le Teint foundation, and this is being re-promoted in this Chanel 2022 Fall Winter collection. Really beautiful high coverage foundation. To me, this has struck a really golden balance between different merits. So it's a high coverage foundation. It covers everything, and it lasts for very long hours. Basically, I wear this when I have to go out and when I have to look great for many hours or something. But for something like that, it feels still very light and comfortable on the skin. And the shade match, BD01 in this formulation is also a very good match compared to the #1 de Chanel. This one has little bit more of peach undertone, but still works great on my skin tone. I don't really need to wear concealer when I wear this foundation, just like a one and done, really great foundation, and I am sure that I will be repurchasing this. Lastly, I have the Ultra Le Teint Powder Foundation, and I have the shade BR12. So I don't use powder foundation on a daily basis anymore. I used to carry one for touch-up back then, but my skin is not oily anymore, so I just use pressed powder, or I hardly touch up anymore. But I just mainly, I was curious about this powder foundation, and it is a great one if you ask me. It's really finely milled, and it feels weightless. It still gives you a really good amount of coverage. So when I wear this, I use this to add a sheer veil of another just very light veil of coverage. Or if I just am busy and I am just doing a Zoom meeting or something, I dust it over using a fluffy brush all over my face. It evens out the complexion beautifully, lasts all day. Really nice powder foundation if you're in market for one. So that wraps up my round of Chanel foundation review. I hope you find this helpful, or at least I gave you some reference point when it comes to the Chanel base makeup. So let me know down below what your thoughts are. What is your favorite Chanel foundation? What you like to try next? I would love to know. So thank you very much for watching this video and spending your time with me today. I really appreciate it. Give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you can. I hope to see you guys in my next video. Bye.